What's up, you data-hungry Amazon sellers? This is your host, Tommy Berenger of the Sell, Rank, Win podcast from Merchant Words. And in this podcast, we give you the answers to your most burning questions, actionable insights that you can take away and implement into your business today. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's episode. What do you say? Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sell, Rank, Win podcast from Merchant Words. I am your host, Tommy Berenger. And as always, we have a very special guest on with us today. My next guest literally wrote the book on sourcing in Iwu. We'll get to what Iwu is in just a bit. He's been selling on Amazon for 7 years and coaching for 5, and has over 4,500 students worldwide. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Andy Lee, better known as Andy Amazon Advocate. How you doing today, Andy?
Hey, hi. Thank you so much. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, man. Thank you.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for getting right back to us when we reached out to you. Our marketing team was like, hey, you should check this guy out, Andy Amazon Advocate. And we just looked at everything you do and loved it, and wanted to get you on the podcast. And, we just made it come to fruition here, like within like just a few days, right?
Yes. This was so fast.
Yeah. So where are you right now? You're in Taiwan?
Yes. I'm actually going to do a series of events in Taiwan. So actually having my quarantine now in Taiwan in the hotel. So I'll be finishing my quarantine actually tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And then tell everyone out there what time it is for you, because I'm here in LA and it is 12 p.m. for me.
Yes. It's actually 3 a.m. And I especially make sure that I attend this podcast because I'm not sure whether Tommy knows, but because I didn't tell you, previously, but I'm actually a really big fan of Merchant Words. The reason why I say that is because my wife started the eBay selling many years ago, and then Merchant Word was the first tool that we used for all the keyword research and everything. And then after that, when we go to Amazon, this was also the first tool that we used to do all our keyword research and everything. So I really thank you guys, and that is why when you guys told me that you want to get me on your podcast, I'm actually very excited, and I'm very happy. Thank you.
Well, awesome. Thank you for coming on, Andy. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You love Merchant Words. Thank you so much for that. And I just want to say thank you for coming on at 3 a.m. your time. That shows a lot of dedication. And, thank you so much again. So
no problem.
What do you say? Let's go ahead and dive into the podcast. What do you say?
Yes. Thank you. Sure.
All right. So let's start off. Tell us a bit about how and why did you get into selling on Amazon?
Okay. I was actually we actually have me and my wife, we actually have the e-commerce background because she's the one who started eBay selling in 2005. But of course, it was not on a very big scale. It was just like more on a free time basis, selling things online and everything. And and at the time, I was actually an insurance agent in Singapore, but my income was actually quite good and doing quite well. But I actually went into so-called gambling, and I actually went bankrupt. And that was quite many years ago. And of course, after I was when I was doing my bankrupt, that period of time, I started going to Amazon and everything. And soon after I was discharged, I pay off, etc. And I was discharged. And I think so rather it was also, a fate to be an e-commerce seller, And I thank you. I thank for all the experiences I have last time, all the bad stuff that happened to me, and made me stronger today to appreciate more about money and what is important in terms of how to manage your money properly. Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You learn from those mistakes, right?
Yep.
You take the bad and make it good, make it better, right? And that's
Yes.
that's the only way. When you're at that rock bottom point, the only way from there is up, right?
Yes. Yes. Mm.
Well, that's good. That's really good to hear. Really good to hear. So I wanted to ask you about what marketplaces are you selling on Amazon? Are you selling across all the marketplaces?
Mm. So what happened is I failed some marketplaces before, and I mean I also selling in some other marketplaces now. I failed in India. Um, it was actually a very bad experience, but of course I learned. The return rate for India was actually quite high, and I lost quite a lot of money. And after that, of course I'm also in US. Definitely, I'm also in UK and Germany. Also in Japan. And in Japan, Japan is very interesting because I only sell a very niche category. And also I fail in Singapore as well. Amazon Singapore. I was there for about a year, but the sales and everything is really you can't compare with the big boys in Singapore. So these are the marketplaces currently like I am now in.
Got it. Got it. So that's interesting to hear that there is a high return rate in India. Was it the product that you launched out there, or do you think it's just like that's how the country is there? They just return a lot of stuff.
Okay, first of all, this is not politics, so I'm not saying down any countries. But India really, the return rate for not only for one product, but most of my product are very, very high. I mean, if I can give you an example, I sell light bulbs. Um, the return can be like as crazy as on the 29th day, they will just do a return, and and then some rather I see them buying the same thing again from me again, and they start to return again after 29 days, and then they start to buy again. And that was a trend I saw in India, and I think that it is really very crazy. So I retreat from India, and it was an experience learned as well. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely smart move there. There's a lot of volume in India, so I guess there's got to be somewhere to make money out there, right? It's got to be.
Yes, it
Uh,
must be in very big volume. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't sold in India just yet, but I'm thinking about it. But and I heard Japan actually has a very low return rate.
Oh yes. As a matter of fact, Japanese people actually value things. So as long as your things are very high quality, they appreciate quality more than the cost itself. Yep.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And then across those different marketplaces, are your selling strategies any different? Like, do you do something different in the UK opposed to doing something in the US? In regards to maybe running a different type of PPC campaign, or is it same across the board?
Of course, I think my two main marketplace would be UK and US. Um, the way we do our marketing campaigns, I would say that a lot goes down to who are the influencers that you know in the different countries, because different countries have different influencers. By the way, I do a lot of influencer marketing and also Facebook ads and Google ads. Uh, Opposing to the PPC. But of course, PPC I still do, but it's not as much nowadays. So different countries have different cultures, and even keywords are very important. And that's why I always suggest people to really use a good apps like merchant words to find the correct keywords, because examples like sometimes you call this A, but when you will call something else B in the UK. So it's very important that you know it very well. Um, like one of my very good product now in the US, I have some very interesting Spanish words, that I added in them into my search terms. And these words I found out using apps and tools. And because of all these interesting keywords, right, I can actually do some very interesting PPC campaign at a very low cost. So different market really have different strategies, and the influencers cost differently as well. Um, I would say that it's much more easier to work with influencers in the US rather than the UK. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is, you know, there's a lot of Spanish keywords being searched into Amazon US, and we see that a lot in our data and merchant words too. And you can
Yeah.
definitely get those for a lower for lower CPC.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you get a lot more bang for your buck on those Spanish keywords in the US for sure.
Yeah.
That's a tip right there. Thank you, Andy.
Yes. But you can't use the Spanish words in the UK. No, it doesn't work at all. Yeah. So really
Yeah.
different. Yep.
Yeah, it's the high volume. There's a lot of high volume on some certain Spanish keywords out there for sure.
Yep.
So one of the main things I wanted to talk to you about here is the dream trip that, as you call it, to Yiwu that you take your students to. So tell us a bit about, let our listeners know, what is Yiwu. Tell them what is this place, and why is it so beneficial for Amazon sellers to go there?
Okay. When I first started going to Yiwu itself, which was about 6 years ago, not much people knows about it. But of course, I think many people knows where is Yiwu nowadays. Yiwu is actually in China, of course, in Zhejiang. And what happened is this place is like the biggest commodity market in the world. It has a total of 5 districts, and each districts could be like maybe like 6 to 7 indoor stadiums, that big, and it's about 4-story high.
Wow.
And if I were to walk from District 1 to District 5, if I just keep on walking and I don't stop to see anything, just keep on walking, it will take me about 2 hours or more to reach the end. And that's how it's crazy. And there's a total of 700,000 vendors inside this whole place. It's really
That is
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I've been there for 41 times. 41 times, and I know the place very well. As a matter of fact, I pay a lot of tribute to the place because that was really where I started my Amazon dream. But of course nowadays I do source from different areas as well. Like I source from Vietnam, I source from Indonesia, different countries as well. But that was really the place where I first started, and it is really a very good place to go if you have totally no experience in doing e-commerce, whether is it Amazon, whether is it your local platforms in Southeast Asia like Lazada, Shopee, anywhere. This is a very good start for you because it's like a very big supermarket. You can see many things. Maybe you can see this, and then you can actually add them together as a what do you call it, as a bundle, idea, and etc. Okay. So what I do is we have this thing called nesting. Nesting means, right, what happened is I'll bring my staff to one of the shop, and then we'll nest inside for about 1 or 2 hours, and then whatever product we see, we'll do all the research immediately on the spot to get all the
Very
data.
cool.
And then we'll take photos, we'll write down the price and everything, and then we'll do a second research when we head back to the hotel. So if there's no COVID-19, that when there's a very good time, I can actually bring my staff there, and within like 5 days, we can really purchase a lot of products, just for the initial kickstart. Yeah, and it's a very good way to kickstart the e-commerce business. Yep.
Very cool. So, I mean, even if someone who's been selling on Amazon for a long time, I think it's still going to be beneficial, and not just for the beginner sellers, to get out there to Yiwu. I mean, I haven't been there yet. I've been selling on Amazon since 2014. And I still, I mean, I know the ins and outs of sourcing and having a good sourcing agent and things like that, but I don't think that compares to actually being there physically in Yiwu. And I might have to hit you up for one of those trips the next time you go. I might have to come with you guys.
Oh, yes. I would really love to see you. Because the trip itself, basically, I don't only bring my guys over there to see the commodity place, but actually, I do have special events. Like, for example, I brought my guys to Alibaba headquarter in Hangzhou before for a tour. I also brought my students to a fulfillment center in China to see how the China people do their fulfillment, just like Amazon. So there's a lot of extra activities there. So basically, it's just not going there to learn to do sourcing, but also to go to other places that is related to e-commerce as well. And it's a very fulfilling trip.
Absolutely. And I also heard that when you go out there, it's a lot easier to kind of see, because the manufacturers in China, they can see where the market is going. They have like a sixth sense for that. And they can say, look, this product, because just the other day, a friend of mine sent me this new like fidget toy for that category. I've never seen it before. I even showed my kids. I said, hey, check this out. Have you seen this toy before? Because they're always up on what's the new stuff, right? And they're like, no, I have no idea what this is, but I would love to have one of these things. And then I showed all my nephews and nieces and everything, and they said the same thing. So my little market research was done there, right? But they know these things out there, and they can, and when you go out there, you can talk to the people about maybe what's going to be the next new thing, and talk about doing a test order, testing them out on your store on Amazon. I mean, there's a lot of beneficial things, benefits that you can get going from Yiwu. Not from my personal experience, from what I've heard. I mean, what are the top benefits that a person or a seller can get from going to Yiwu? Is it like finding products? Is it just learning the way that the global logistics work and the manufacturing? What would you say that is?
I have many students, of course, they learn because they learn from me how to do the Amazon business. So we give them the steps, so step by step, how to do sourcing online if you cannot go to China, right? But many times, right, when they do the research, they tend to, for a moment, they get to be distracted, or they do not really know which directions they are heading to. But if you go to Yiwu itself, you see the product on the spot, and then you can even see many interesting things that you cannot even think of that keyword when you're at home. So you will lead to many, many interesting products. And when they go to there, I will also show them a lot of products that I make a lot of money before, and I also show them some product that I failed very badly before as well. And you're so right. There are many products that when they will tell you that these are the trend now. You may want to go into this trend and etc. And of course, you were talking about the fidget spinner. When I first saw the fidget spinner many years back, one of my Shenzhen distributor told me, I was laughing at them. I say, you must be crazy. Who will use that? But after a while, it became such a big hit. I went to buy also as well, but the price has almost doubled, than the initial stage. Yeah, I did make some money, but not a lot. But luckily, so nowadays, whenever they tell me, I will really take into consideration and think about it. And I don't know whether do you know the banana holder? The holder that holds the banana is like a banana shape.
Yes.
I was among the first few to sell in Amazon, when it first started. I got this in Yiwu itself. and I bundled it together with a banana cutter, but of course today there's a lot of copycats, and then everybody is selling it, everything, etc. But I mean, it was a good experience, and I actually made the first wave, and I made quite a lot of money from the first wave already. Yeah. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, I know. And I was there I know exactly what you're talking about, because I was there on the first wave before anyone really knew about the squishies, the squishy toys.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
That was crazy how much money was made in just a few months. And then, like you said, it's like a wave, and then it just kind of drops off, right?
Yeah.
So because then everyone it becomes that Me Too product, and then the margins just go down, and then it's not even worth it, right? So, yeah. But it's fun while it lasts, right? You got to catch that wave right in the beginning.
Yes.
When there's a blue ocean, not that red ocean with all the sharks in it, right?
Yep. Mm.
Yeah.
And it's also very important because as you all know that nowadays there's more and more Chinese sellers here. I mean, like if you look at the statistic, last year was like 75% of sellers
Yeah.
are new sellers are from China. So I mean, why is it that I still want to be so connected in China? Is because I want to know what are the sellers thinking about. And so, I will always have events to mix up with the sellers, to talk, to listen to them. And whenever I'm in China, I will make sure I attend those events that they will talk about, black hats,
Hmm.
tricks, and to know what are they doing, and so that I'm not saying that we're going to do it, but at least we know how to defend ourselves, just
Yeah.
in case. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got our hands on like a course that they give in China, and in the course it talks about all the black hat tactics that are straight up no that you could get your account suspended for and shut down on Amazon. So they like teach those, especially the review tactics.
Yeah.
Getting fake reviews and stuff, which is a huge no as everyone should know out there. And if you don't know, now you know. Trust me, don't do that. Do
Yeah.
not try to go to like a review farm or one of those Facebook groups that says they can get you reviews, because it is just, that you're playing the short term there. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So if you want
Yep.
this for longevity, you want this for a real business, don't take those shortcuts and those black hat tactics. It's not worth it. And it sounds like Andy's on the same page with me on
Yep.
that.
Definitely.
Cool. Andy, so thank you so much. We like to keep these podcasts short and sweet.
Yep.
And we're
Sure.
going to go ahead and wrap this up. And towards the end of every podcast, I like our guests to go ahead and give our listeners at least one tip or trick that they can take away after listening to this podcast and immediately implement it into their business and our lives. So, what do you got for us, Andy?
Is it? I would like to share a tip if you are going to EU. I mean, since we are talking about the dream trip itself. If you do ever go to EU itself, do always take note and very, very careful, especially when you place the orders. Okay, the way you write the invoice, there's a lot of skills involved. Okay, especially if you do not know Chinese, it's better to have a translator to be with you to assist you, that someone that can trust. Because I've been tricked before, even for me, as I'm a Chinese. I'm from Singapore, by the way. I know Chinese, but I still get cheated before, once a while. Okay, yeah. So one of the very important tips that I can always share with you guys is about writing the invoice itself. The way you write your date, make sure your date is written properly, when you're going to deliver, and etc. I would suggest, if you can always write like something like the 15th of May 2021, right in full. Okay, rather than you always write like 20 two dash slash 05 slash 21. Don't write this type of dates, because in China itself, the month is always first before the day. Yeah. So there was some instances before that our students got cheated. They actually say that the thing's supposed to be delivered 3 months later and not now. Yeah, and everything got into very screw up.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also it's very important, I think, the negotiating strategies as well, right? I'm sure you can help with that as well.
Yes. They always will mark up the price at least 20% first before they give you the price that they want. So always bargain. Yes.
So
Always.
there's always room. There's
Yes.
always room.
Always
Always
room.
negotiate.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a lot of things that we teach, during our dream trip, about how to negotiate, how to place the order, and all the steps in getting the correct order to be placed, and etc. Yep. And that's it.
Well, what's one of, go ahead, Andy, go ahead.
Oh, and of course, I was saying that, because I do own shipping company in EU itself. I've been working with this person for many years, and in the end, I'm so impressed with her. I invested in her company, and I bought over her company. So now I have a shipping company in EU itself. So of course, all my students will actually consolidate all their goods and will be shipping over via by my shipping company in Yiwu itself. So it's actually safer because shipping in Yiwu itself is a very, very cowboy town. It's really very crazy. A lot of people always get cheated due to shipping is also in China, especially in Yiwu. Yeah, so be careful.
Wow, yeah, that's very good to know. I think I've been getting some pretty good shipping quotes, but maybe I haven't been. So I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to you about that offline.
Sure.
For sure. And then Andy, you got my brain working really quick. Before we go, what is like one negotiation strategy when you're trying to negotiate that price? Like some key words that you can mention to them, whether you're there face to face or in an email. What should you say to them to try and get their price to drop down?
Okay, the reason is because whenever we are in Yiwu, we are always using it to do a test. A test. It's like a test board. We use it to test the market. So definitely when we go there, we are buying many products at a very low quantity to sell on Amazon to check whether is it selling well. Okay, but once you know that it's selling well, it's time to negotiate. That's what I say, right? You need to buy maybe 1,000 pieces. You need to do your packaging and everything. I think the keywords is not so important, but rather I would say that it is how you behave or how you talk to the supplier. They know that you're also going for the long run, not just a hit and run thing. Okay, so I will usually tell them that this is my company. I've been selling on Amazon for many years, and this is a product that I'm not very sure whether it can work or not. This is my first time. So be frank and be true. Don't pretend that you are a very big shot or something like that where you are not. Okay, and I told them that to be true, I just want to test out. If it's okay, I will come back to them. And whenever I come back to them, to get the next stage where I get 1,000 or 2,000 pieces, they'll be so impressed that I kept my words. And that is when the trust is there. And then we start to negotiate the price. So I think it's more of the feeling you give them rather than the keywords that you use that will make the difference. Because they themselves, they met so many buyers every day. They also know, what type of things you are going to talk about. So be truthful and don't be fake. That's all.
Absolutely. And you got me thinking right now because it's my flagship product that I've been selling for what now? I think 6 or 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
And I know it was the first product that I launched and it's been one of my best products. But it has stood the test of time for sure. So you got me thinking I need to go back to them and try and negotiate my price down a little more. Like, hey, I've been working with you for 6 years now, so you gotta drop it down. Give me 3 cents off or something, right?
Yeah. Of course, I have a book called Yiwu Merce. It's selling on Kindle now. If anybody want to know more about how to buy things from Yiwu, it's like a book that you need to read before you go, so that at least you have some preparation. I would really suggest you can get a book. It's only about $9.99 USD. So I hope you guys can support me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and I'm gonna go check that out. It's Yiwu Merce, so YIWUMERCE, correct?
There's a dash in between, so it's like YIWU-MERCE. It's like e-commerce, but it's called Yiwu Merce. Yeah. So that was it.
Got it.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, if Andy, where can people find you? Where can they reach out to you? Do you have an email they can contact you at? What are your social handles, Twitter, Facebook, if you have any? And just let them know how they can go ahead and reach out to you.
Oh, you can definitely find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can just search Andy Amazon Advocate. You will definitely find me.
Perfect. And I think I need on your next trip to Yiwu, let me know because I think I might.
All right, let's catch up there.
That trip. Yeah, for sure. And Andy, again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Taking the time out of your day, talk about that. It's 3 a.m. where you are. That's craziness. I felt bad when you told me that for a second, but you're like, no, you know what? Let's do it. I'm up here. I'm up at this time anyway, so let's just do it. So perfect. I really appreciate that. I want to say thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
see you.
Thanks, Eddie. Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. All right. Bye. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you got any value out of this podcast at all, please let us know at the place that you listen to it at, whether it be iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is. Give us some love, give us an awesome review, and let us know maybe some things you want us to talk about on the next podcast. Until next time, guys, stay awesome and be awesome.